I think you can share the flyer for the time being so
Yeah.
that you can check. Good evening, everyone. We will start at 8:02 since people are joining. We will wait till 8:02 and then we can start. So it is 8:01 right now. We will wait for one more minute. Okay, so we can start the session. So, hello everyone. Good evening from India. I am Shikha Singh, volunteering as Vice President Professional Development at PMI Mumbai chapter. I hold a BE in Production Engineering from Mumbai University, Green Belt in Lean Six Sigma, and PMP certified from PMI. Professionally, I'm working at LRQA Inspection Services India LLP at Mumbai and having over 18 plus years of experience in operations of inspection services and right now handling global projects. So I welcome everyone for today's PM Pit Stop session. And my God, today's registrations are 228 plus. So that is obvious. The topic explains all. So PM Pitstop provides a platform where subject matter experts and project managers from many industries share their experiences and demonstrate the usage of various tools and techniques in the real world. So today's topic is the inner project, manage conflicts and decode leadership styles and personality traits through tarot. And guess what? Today's speaker to present this topic is Ms. Mitaksha Shirgaonkar. She is corporate trainer and facilitator, professional and business growth coach. She conducts workshops for the corporates in the domain of project management, operational excellence, and associated areas to enhance workplace productivity. As a coach, she guides working professionals and business owners using a combination of tarot, NLP, and management concepts for holistic progress. She has also mentored entrepreneurs in areas of business operations. Her core approach is to enable transformation within for overall sustainable growth. Her LinkedIn profile will be shared in the chat box, so please connect with her. And please post questions in the chat box, and same will be answered at the end of the session by the speaker. So I request Mitaksha to start her session, please. Thank you.
Hello, everybody, and thank you so much, Shikha, for this lovely introduction. So I am Mitakshara Shirgaonkar. You can call me Mita for this particular workshop. I join you from Mumbai. I have been very much a resident since my birth, and today's topic would be a combination of all those aspects that I've been following throughout my professional growth right now. Okay, so just to share the agenda for today, I'd like to say that when I first was asked about what was the most challenging part of project management, and this question came up when I was working as a trainer for global firms, Indian arm for the apprenticeship program in the domain of project management. One of the apprentices asked me the question that, Mitakshara, what do you think is the most challenging part when it comes to project management? And my response was stakeholders. And why is that? Because stakeholders are mostly people. Although we have gone into this age of digitization and mechanization, we very much are dealing with people. And people means emotions, thought processes, beliefs, their own values, their own minds. And there is where you will have conflicts because everyone will have their own ways of looking at the world. And that is where what happens when you are dealing with people. How do you really look at your own overall mental and emotional wellness while you are dealing with projects? That is going to depend upon how you look at conflicts. What are your inner core leadership styles? And that can be decoded using your own personality analysis. And there is where the essence of tarot comes into picture. So this is where I'm going to share my unique approach of combining two, three things. I'm going to share a confluence where you can also deep dive within yourself and see where you can strengthen yourself by identifying your strengths and weaknesses. So this is the agenda for today. And in the due course of this 1.5 hours workshop, I'll be putting you through two different types of activities. So be sure to have at least something to write on, either your digital notepads or grab a pen and paper, because I am going to ask you certain questions. You will be asked a few things to calculate, and there is where we can actually look at some facets of your core self. All right. Now, before I begin, a short introduction about my journey. I have been independent since the past almost 7 years. And prior to that, I have worked as a project manager. And of course, my journey started into business development, which later on transitioned into project management. I was working as a corporate employee till 2018, after which I embarked upon my own journey of consultancy, coaching, and training. And throughout my journey, I got my PMP certification in 2018 when version 5 was live. After that, I've also taken the Neuro Linguistic Programming certification. I'm also an alumnus holder of the MDP program of Business Excellence from IIM Lucknow, which is a prestigious set of institutes in India. All right, so that's it. Now, coming to tarot, I would like to share an interesting insight over here, and that is this. I think my screen is froze. Just a moment. Okay, sorry about the glitch. Okay. So when I started my journey into tarot in 2011, when I started learning this like an innocent hobby, I used to get questions like, do you dabble with dark energies? Do you actually get spirits within you? I'm like, no, that's all just balderdash. It's not true, because tarot is actually a wonderful tool where you've got wonderful cards, and that's how you predict. And as I grew, as I started relating this, I found out that there is a lot to do with how people look at circumstances and how they are willing to react. And that also connects us to their personality profiles, which can be identified using the date of birth. And this is something which we will be looking at the end of the session. So don't go anywhere. Please stay tuned, stay till the end, because this interesting part, the very crux of this webinar, comes towards the end. Right? So this is a perception, and that's what I wanted to put this here, that how people think we will be dressing up and walking out in the public using all the gypsy costumes. But what we are really is there, what you see on the right. By the way, on the left also, that's me, and that was because somebody encouraged me to dress up as a gypsy for one of the costume parties in one of the organizations that I worked in. But that's not how I look like. I look like what I appear in the right. Well, with that, let's now start deep diving into the topic, starting first with conflict management. Now, as I said earlier, conflicts arise when there are people involved because of certain priorities, certain thought processes, and all. And they are going to come up when people are involved. They are going to happen between people because of people, and those can be solved only with the help of people only. And there is where we ourselves have to understand what conflicts are and whether we need to resolve them, or we just need to let certain conflicts be the way they are. Now, all this lies in the different conflict management styles. Now, let me ask you a question. I'm going to pause here and ask you, when was the last time you found yourself in any kind of conflict, big or small, anything, whether it was between your own team members or within departments or anything? Okay, you can put your responses in the chat box. And by the way, if you have any questions, please hold them to the last, because the last 10 minutes I'm going to open up for discussions, and I'll be happy to answer anything that you put up in the chat box. Okay, so Abhishek Dubey says that last 1 hour ago he had a conflict. Rohit says almost every day. Rajendra Mote says last 30 minutes. Okay, all right. You will keep on, if you really recollect, you somebody has just had a conflict right now. Somebody has had a conflict 10 years ago, the burden of which they're still carrying and they're still scared. Now, all this, the way your conflicts are impacting you and the way you respond to conflicts are going to depend upon what you are at the core. And Prasad Pathak says, don't remember. Okay, Prasad, that's good. It's, actually good to be in that blissful state that you don't remember the conflicts because you are not really burdened by the negativity out there. Mohit Parekh says, when the client escalates. Oh, okay. Okay, wonderful. Right. Okay, so now when we look at conflicts out here, yeah, there are different levels at which conflicts occur, but before that, we have to understand the origin of conflicts. Number one, there could be some past influences because of which we have already made certain assumptions that, oh, if I do this, then this will happen. So I should not get into this particular fight. Or if I don't do this particular action, then there could be some sort of escalation to the management level. So I need to go right deep in and solve it right now. This is a past influence. Then you have something based on the priorities. Now, what happens when in organizations where there are large number of projects which are going on, you will have resource scarcity, right? You can't have just endless amount of resources. Now, whether it is going to be an IT project where resources are in the form of human capital, or it could be any research and development manufacturing like automobiles, construction, or even pharmaceutical domain from which I come from. I have taken my experience from. So there what happens is there is resource scarcity, and there will be teams who could be competing for one common ingredient or one common material. Okay, so there could be a conflict based on the priorities. Then there could be conflicts because of environmental factors. There can be conflicts between the regulatory scenarios and what the company has been doing. So you have to really follow the law of the land. As Shikha mentioned, that she comes from the field of quality. So quality and regulations, here is where the conflict management approach has to be done in a different way. You have to just give in because you can't really argue with the law of the land, right? There could be difference of opinions. One says red, other says blue. Of course, in the real world, the conflicts are not as simple as the difference between the red and blue. Then could be there could be preferences and ambitions. Now, what happens when people working in organizations have certain preferences of working in a certain way, or they may have their own ambitions, and those ambitions may not be congruent with the values or the systems of the organization. There is where people might move on. So there are multiple reasons why people take decisions: beliefs and egos, values, right? And then last but not least, but the very much important aspect, the reason why the conflicts can occur is communication gaps. If you don't speak the right thing at the right time to the right person, there will be conflicts. Now this takes us back to all what we have learned in the project management syllabus before appearing for the PMP examination, right? That if communication doesn't happen at the right time, if the communication is not controlled, because of which at certain place there is over communication and redundancy, and at certain place there is going to be lack of communication, because of which crucial information is not flown to the right stakeholders, there could be conflicts because then the priorities get set. And this exactly is the set of all those reasons why conflicts occur in the workplace. Yeah. Now, conflicts can be either because of one single of these reasons, or it could be a combination of many. And that is where we, as project managers, we, as responsible leaders, should learn to identify different origins and try to manage those conflicts, try to mitigate those conflicts before they arise. But today, we will be focusing a little more deeper. So now coming to the levels at which conflicts occur. The topmost layer, something which I've not really put on the slide here, is between countries. Geopolitics, biggest example of conflicts, right? Then you have between companies. Now, the relationship between two companies. Maybe there has been a merger or an acquisition. Whenever there is such a level, such a strategic event which happens, there are differences in the working styles, there are differences in the cultures, right? There is where when people are supposed to work together, there can be this conflict where some people are open to communication. There is an open door policy where some organizations have a closed door culture. Even so, even if there is no strategic event like a merger or acquisition or a joint venture, imagine a person who has come from a closed door organization suddenly is subjected to the open door culture. There will be a conflict because a person is just getting acclimatized to that. Then between two companies, there could be conflicts between companies who have got a supplier vendor relationship, supplier customer relationship, right? Because in reality, every company will try to have the best interest for themselves as far as the cash flow is concerned. So negotiations have to come, there has to be a compromise somewhere. Now coming a little down, we have conflicts within the organizations. Now that will be between departments and units and different functions. Now in my opinion, and I want somebody to verify this from the audience here, if you belong to this role, I have seen that there are conflicts mostly happening between the sales team and the operations team. Is my statement really valid at the place where you work? Now I'm going to pause and ask you to reflect upon this. Very true. Saurabh, thank you so much. Because what happens is the sales and the marketing, they will have their own targets to get more customers and all. But operations people will be saying, no, let us please wait and give out the quality product rather than just doing something hastily. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for giving your inputs. Then, something which I've also seen, and I think Shikha, the organizer, will be able to answer this. The biggest conflict happens between quality and sometimes the purchase, or sometimes between the sales.
Yes, quality, as I told you, quality is a thankless job. So if you do quality, it is like, okay, you are supposed to, we are supposed to provide quality services, but then it is a thankless job because we are the one who are struggling to manage the quality. So yes, you are
Absolutely. And this is something which I observed when last year I was at a manufacturing unit and I was specially called for conflict management. Now, there is where we have to actually look at certain roles which require a certain conflict management style, irrespective of who is sitting there on the chair, right? Then, coming to the next is the workplace conflict, where you will be possibly arguing with your peers, your bosses, your subordinates, or your colleagues in general, maybe over who has booked the conference room for today's meeting. I need it. No, I need it. There's always going to be a tug of war sometimes. And that is where you've got the facility management people coming into it. Okay. Mohit says, okay, development team and testing team, even within the project management. Absolutely. Absolutely. You guys are giving me wonderful answers. Thank you so much for participation. Okay. Next, we go a level deeper and come to the personal level where there will be conflicts at our in our personal space, right? Between partners, between spouses, between family members, parent and child conflict, sibling rivalry, between friends, between relatives, over so many reasons. Because, hey, who took my cheese? Who moved my cheese? And all those things that we have learned so far. We've heard so many authors writing about their thoughts through their books, right? And now, for the focus of this particular topic, in this webinar, we are going to talk about the internal realms, that is, the conflicts which nobody actually sees. Nobody will be able to understand because those are lying deep within us. That is the conflict between the mind and the heart, the conflict between logic and creativity, the conflict between the brain versus the heart, isn't it? Now tell me, all those people who said that I don't remember the last time this conflict happened, yeah, Don't you think that there is always some sort of conflict going on, whether we think about it consciously or not? Yes, true. Mind versus heart, right? So sometimes, and this particular conflict is not as simple as arguing with your sibling or your best friend about where to go for dinner. Should we try out a Mexican cuisine or should we go to the Chinese restaurant? No, these are not the conflicts which can happen at a service level. These are something which are going to be deep within us. And today we are also going to look at one particular framework to identify how we can really decode those conflicts deep within us. Okay, so are you all ready to go ahead? Okay, now what we are going to do here is in the next set of activity, I'm going to portray some questions to you, which I would like you to mark here, and we'll be calculating the scores to identify where exactly you lie with respect to conflict management. All right. So this is going to be a very short dipstick psychometry test coming up right in front of you. Okay. So this is going to be a quiz to identify your conflict management style. I'm going to give you a moment so that you can just open up your digital notepads, or you can just look at you just grab a pen and paper to scribble. In the meanwhile, what is there in front of you is the key to answer the questions. Okay, I'm going to exactly wait for 1 minute. In the meanwhile, you can just type out those who are there, which location, which part of the world do you come from? Okay, Saurabh says Mumbai. We have Darshana from Dubai, Umair from Saudi Arabia. Okay, I saw someone joining from New Zealand as well. Okay, Guwahati, Pune. Wonderful. Mahagad, Raigad. Okay, Dubai. Okay, wonderful. Great. California. Wonderful. Currently in US. Okay. Okay, so I think we must have all gathered back. So now the quiz goes like this. For every question, for every statement that comes up, please look at yourself and think. Don't give too much time to think here, but look at that and see if this relates to you always. Then give number 5 for that particular question. If you feel that, hey, this is not me, then you can answer 1. And if you feel somewhere in the middle, then depending upon the occurrences or depending upon the frequency of that relating with you, you can write it as 2, 3, or 4. Okay. Now I will be posing these questions, and these questions will remain for a very short time for you to just make a note and write. Don't give too much of time. Write what comes to you in the first instance, okay? Because this is not for getting a perfect score. This is just to have a real picture. This is just going to serve as a mirror for each other, right? Hey, no, don't write. No, no, wait. Uh, no, wait. I think let me just answer once again. So this is just a key for you to answer the questions. Okay. For each of the 15 questions, you have to mark your scores. So question number 1, if it always relates to you, mark 5. If it does not relate to you at all, mark 1. If it is like, okay, sometimes I can agree with this, sometimes I don't agree with this, you can mark 3. The same things happen, the same things you need to do after you go to the next question. So for all 15 questions, you will have to mark one particular answer. Okay, so let's go. Thank you Alpesh. Okay, so the first 5 questions are here right in front of you. I'm going to wait for 2 minutes here, so please focus on the questions. Write whether it is 1, 2, 3, or 5 for you. Just to reiterate, 1, if it does not relate to you at all. Number 5, if it is always the case with you. Okay, all of you, my request here is you do not need to put anything in the chat box. You need to make this course for yourself. Please make a note in your own pads because at the end of it, I will be asking you to add up the numbers. So it is not to be done in in the chat box. Please maintain the records for yourself. Am I clear? Okay, thanks, Sachin. Okay, I'm just going to wait here for one more minute and I'll come up with the next five questions. Yes, Alpesh, that's a wonderful suggestion. You can always put your responses in a spreadsheet so that it will be easy for you to add up the scores very quickly. Thanks for the suggestion, Alpesh. Okay, coming up next is the next five questions. Okay, just in another minute, I'm going to I'm going to give the next five questions, which will be the last of the set. And here is a last set of the 15 questions, last five questions. Okay, Abhishek, I'm going to put up the previous. I'll put up all the five slides, all the three slides once again. Just let's focus on this one first. Okay, I think we all must have looked at all the 15 questions. Now, on public demand, I'm going to run through all the 15 questions one by one. Okay. So this is the first slide. This is the first set of five questions. Please take a very quick look because we need to speed up now. The next five questions, question number 6 to 10. Okay, didn't get the context of the question number 10. Okay, so I'm happy to meet people halfway, means I'm willing to adjust little bit, but I'm expecting them also to make adjustments. So both the parties should adjust. This is the meaning of question. Okay, now coming up with the next five questions. That is the last of the lot. All right. I hope all of you must have gone through all the questions and you have maintained your scores. Now I'm going to ask you to add up certain scores in certain categories, and the next slide is here right in front of you. So what I would want you to do is please make groups of your answers. What you need to do is add up the scores which you have got for the questions in this specific manner. So question number 1 plus 6 plus 9 plus add up the scores that you have got for yourself and write down a number. Similarly, for group B, question number 5, 11, and 15. Add up the scores that you have got for these particular questions. Group C is going to be scores for question number 3, 10, and 14. Group D is going to be 4, 8, and 13. And group E is equal to 2, 7, and 12. The scores of it. Okay. Is this instruction clear? Do you want me to repeat? I will give another moment for this. I think people are confused here, or maybe they're too knee deep in very much in identifying themselves right now through these numbers. Done? Okay, Alpesh. Okay, I'll wait for half a minute more to ensure that everyone is having their scores yet on their screens. Wow, if Vishwajit says that group E has got 21, then I'm sure he must be a very great personality. I'm sure. Okay, group C 14. Okay. Okay, Ashish. So great. We will want to look at all the groups together. So after this, what I would want you all to do is just identify just for yourself. It's okay if you don't want to put in the chat box. You can just write down in which group you have scored the highest, because these groups are going to be corresponding to certain conflict management styles which are going to come up later. Harshali says group E. Abhishek says there are people group E, C. Okay, mostly in group C and E. Okay, group E is 15. 24. Okay, group D, Sandeep Kulkarni. Okay. Group C and E equal, Satish says. Okay. Now we are going to look. So, okay, group E is the highest and group D is the lowest. Okay, group B. Okay, wonderful. Someone in group B, group C and E. Okay, so I can see in this particular group, there are group C and group E having highest with somebody who was said at group D. Now, let us now look at what this group A, B, C, D, and mean. Okay, I got tie. A, B, D, and E, all eight. Okay, Alpesh, I'll tell you what it means. Remind me to tell you what this means. Okay, all right. Let's now start. What do you mean by group A, B, C, and D? Okay, so group A is the avoiding style. Now, I don't think anybody has really got the highest score in A. Now, what happens is in avoidant style, hi Hitesh. Okay. So, in avoiding style, usually the people are going to withdraw from the issue. So, people who feel that, okay, conflicts are not for me, I'm going to just run away from here, they follow, they fall in the avoidant style. Okay. Now, what happens is sometimes there are certain situations where you need this particular approach because sometimes not all conflicts need to be resolved. Now, imagine, um, let's say there are two kids which are fighting. Okay, constantly they have been struggling to, get their share of toys or their share of chocolates or whatever. And then there is a teacher who comes and sees them, and the teacher says that, what, let them fight because this is a normal thing. I am not going to spend my time over here. She leaves them for some 2 hours, and by the time she comes back, she sees that now their fights are over and now they are playing with each other peacefully. Now, this thing happens even in organizations where not every time the leaders or the higher ups need to put in their efforts to resolve the conflicts. So, what happens is we are trying to sleep over the issue. We are trying to test our own subordinates whether they are able to resolve their differences by themselves or not. So, the good thing is that it can calm people down, first of all, and the people will themselves be in the solution finding mode with the help of brainstorming, with the help of reasoning with one another. But what happens is the negative side of this is that if the same issue is happening over and over again, then this style is not going to be good because then there is something which needs to be resolved at the root. The gap analysis has to be done. And if the same issue keeps on happening over and over again, or if leaders are following the same sort of style, then that can also show that the leader is incompetent. They are not able to resolve workplace challenges. So, this is an avoidance style. While this is good in certain cases, it should not be followed all the time. So, this was group number A for you. Anybody who has got the highest in group A over here, amongst anything else, anybody who has got the highest score in A? I assume not. There was, I think, there was a tie which Alpesh got. So, Alpesh, I still am going to answer this question to you later on. Okay. Okay, Rajkumar, that's fine. Okay, now we are moving ahead to the group number B, group B, that is the accommodating style. Hmm? The first thing was a turtle. This thing is a teddy bear. So in avoidance style, the turtle, when there is a big wave coming or there's a danger, the turtle will just retract. All the head, the hands, legs, tail, and everything inside the shell, and nothing will be done. In this case, it is a teddy bear where, hey, you know what? I love you. You win, I lose. I'm not going to fight with you because I don't see this is worth, I respect you. So this is the typical emotion which goes in the accommodating style. Now, the good thing is for small issues, it is fine. And when you are like this, when you're having this particular style, usually the manager are considered to be soft and, nurturing and caring. Now, please focus on the words that I'm using because the tarot activity, which I'm going to do towards the end, you will find a lot of connection between the styles, the personality profiles there, and what you are seeing over here right now. Okay. So, this is good for small issues. But if the managers are always accommodating requests, then there can be lack of discipline sometimes. This cannot be used for, again, bigger issues or sometimes where there are compliances or quality aspects involved, right? And sometimes if you're always going to give in to the pressure of the team, then the managers can appear a bit weak. So again, this style is good for motivating the people around. It is not always good if there are certain serious concerns or there are some critical issues which are at hand. Anybody who has got high in this particular style, I think there was one particular person who got a high in B. Yeah, I saw something. Okay, no issues. Now, coming to the third style, that is the compromising style. Now, compromising is going to be you lose, I also lose. Now, the emotion behind this is fine. I know everybody is in pain. I will share the pain. They also should share the pain. So, the focus is the discomfort which is going to be distributed. Of course, there are benefits for both the parties, but both have to step out of their comfort zones and ensure that the job at hand is done. There is no concern right now. So that the pros and cons is that both the parties then are able to relate to each other. They try to share each other's burden and say, "Okay, okay, fine. You are also having a problem. I'm also having a problem. Let's find solutions because right now we need to get this issue resolved." The solutions here will be temporary. They may not be always permanent. Now the cons here, like I said, there will be some discomfort. Not everybody will be happy. Rather nobody will be happy. If this particular style always continues, then again there will be demotivation because there is a tolerance limit to how much discomfort can be taken, right? And what happens is, if every time there is going to be a compromise, if every time people have to do the rework, if people have to stay back and do extra work, which means there is a certain gap, there are some deficiencies in the process that needs to be resolved. So when we are looking at certain things, we also should look at the background and try to identify things from the holistic perspective. Okay, anybody who's having high C, I think C has been quite high for some people, along with E. Now, coming to the next, that is competing style, that is I win and you lose. It's going to be my way or the highway. Now, this, although it looks extremely aggressive, it will be necessary in certain types of urgency, emergency, or crisis. For example, now I'm sure all of you must have had experiences of having fire drills in the organization, right? Now, what happens in fire drills? There is a fire marshal, there is some manager who's appointed, right? Now, that person will be given a special training to ensure that they evacuate the premises if there is any kind of urgency or emergency. Now, in such cases, such people who are appointed specifically for that role will have to assume this style. You cannot really give people options, right? There has to be quick resolution. Simon says run, that means you have to run. You can't really have your own sweet time because there people's lives may be involved. Okay. Certain other situations where regulatory compliances, quality policies, or legal issues, there you will have to follow a competing style. Okay. Now, the cons are, if this is going to be followed everywhere in each and every case, then possibly your managers will appear as dictators. And if this is the kind of situation always, then members can lose morale. They will feel that discomfort. The managers will feel too aggressive. They will not be able to open up to their managers. And that's where this style is necessary only in terms of emergencies, not always. Anybody who's doing? Alpe says, me not high, but I see fox in that slide, and I read a research paper that fox in a community. Okay. Now I will need some time to really process this. But Rajkumar said D, I got four. Okay. Third slide. Okay. Alpesh will come to this later. Okay. Now the last, that is collaborating style. That is you win, I win, we all win. That is finding solutions for the long term perspective for the overall growth of the organization where everyone will be satisfied. You will be first in the negotiation mode, but you will try to relate. You will try to really persuade, you will try to influence people to see how this is going to be good for the entire organization as a whole, not just for one or two people. Now, the only con over here is that this is going to be time consuming. So, you cannot really have a collaborative approach for quick decisions or in certain crises. But overall, whenever there are projects where you need to have a certain process, right? Now, all of you, we all have learned through the PM work, right? that whenever there is any process, any project which goes on, remember those parts of the ITTOs, that is the inputs, tools and techniques and outputs. What happens, we say that there are some changes which you can suggest to the OPAs, that is organizational process assets. How many of you remember this part while you were, which you studied while preparing for the PMP examination? Yes. So this particular aspect fits well with the collaboration, where you have learned what happens in certain situations. You have seen if there is any particular operational process which is creating certain hurdle, because maybe that operational process was set up many years back, but now the environment has changed. So now we also need to put in some efforts to modify that, so that we can be a little more flexible and be in time to deliver whatever we are supposed to. But that cannot happen very quickly, because you can't really make a change all of a sudden. You will have to go back, you have to really discuss with all the other stakeholders and all the other people involved, and then make a change. But that will be falling under a collaboration approach. In certain deadlines, you will maybe need to have a compromising or a competing approach. So here what I'm trying to say is that whenever you're looking at conflict management, number one, you look at your own style. Which particular style you is dominant for you? Is it the collaboration style? Is it a competing style? Is it the avoidance style? Now, all these are a part of you, and those will be shaped by multiple factors. The second thing that you need to do is look at the situation and see which style is going to be necessary. Okay. Now, what happens? Now, I'll tell you where the internal conflict comes. Suppose a person who is usually always always in the accommodating mode has to take serious decisions very quickly. What will happen? Do you feel that there could be some discomfort? Yes or no? Or, on the contrary, a person who is always a dictatorial style leader, they have been told by the management that, hey, dude, just soften up because people are scared. They need to be motivated. What will happen? And now, Alpesh, I'm going to answer your question, because, yes, because rightly you said desperate situations need immediate decisions. But I remember you also said that, I think yours was the first thing that I saw, that you have got equal distribution for scores, right? That means you seem to be very flexible and you are able to switch and mirror as per situations. So, whenever we are looking at leadership development, it is in the best interest that we ride on the highs and lows and adapt ourselves very quickly. In this case, we can't have a waterfall mindset. We need to have an agile mindset where we respond to situations and follow the best practices. And this can be followed. Yes, Prashant. Thank you so much. I may have missed out this because there are many questions coming up. Group C and Group E. But there are people who score equal everywhere. Yeah. Okay. So here, what we are trying to say is that when you're trying to do self-development practice, when you're trying to enhance your own profile in any organization, it is always in the best interest to start having emotional resilience and look at things in a balanced manner. Sometimes you need empathy, sometimes you need assertiveness, sometimes you need to be firm, sometimes you can be a bit lenient. And that is just going to be based on judgment according to situations. And this is applicable to everybody, and this is possible through retrospectives of your own approach, of your own delivery at work. Just the way you have got retrospectives at the end of each sprint, I request you to look at retrospectives for your own delivery in your own work. Not just practical work, but how you were thinking inside. Yeah? Make sense? All of you? Can we move to the next part? A little bit about leadership before we jump into tarot. Okay, wonderful. So now, looking at the leadership styles, conflicts can come even based on how you look at your own work. Now, let us look at working patterns. Some people are going to be process oriented, which means they have been given a task, they will ensure that they will follow a checklist approach one by one. One, two, three, four, five. I will follow only one particular pathway. I will not deviate from my process. So these people are process oriented. Some people are result oriented. They say, okay, I will do anything, even if I have to tweak this particular process a bit, even if I have to go out of the way, I will do it, but I will get the results delivered. And some people are people oriented, some individuals, where relationships at work matter to them a lot. Now, all of us must have seen people, right? So you tell, let's say there's a team member, and you say that, hey, you know what? Can you please get this finished by, let's say, Friday evening? And the person says that, hey, you know what? I don't have this. I'm sitting at table number 5. Uh, John, who is before me, needs to verify this first, and only John can give me this. This work is stuck up at Priya's end. Okay, so I'm not going to ask Priya. John has to give it to me. So this is typical process orientation, right? You're talking about a typical waterfall approach. Yeah, so this is a waterfall approach that we are having. Whereas result oriented people might just jump into action and fire up their agile mindsets. Okay. And then there are other people who are people oriented. They might just just go praise people, just butter up people and get that work done. So now ask yourself, which category do you belong to? And can you relate to some of these aspects in people around you? Don't we all see people who are like this? Some of them will be just playing a lot on relationships and getting the work done by just being good with each everybody. Some people will be jumping to action and putting their foot down that, no, I want to get this done. I will do. Even if I have to break the process, and so on and so forth. So do you relate to this? Do you see people around you in each of these categories? Okay, so Rahul, how can group D, competing nature, help in projects? So I'm going to answer this question towards the end. Rahul, please be there online. Okay. Mixed bag of patterns depending upon the situation. Yes, Satish. Darshana says always and everywhere. So Hemam says, okay, people and process oriented. So, right. We all are going to be having various degrees of all these things within us. Like I say always, that no project is 100% agile or 100% waterfall. There are going to be various degrees, and that depends upon the situations, that depends upon the industry types. Now agile is mostly seen in information technology and the digital aspects. You have waterfall in construction, real estate, and anywhere where there are laboratory works going on and quality issues are extremely high because quality requires a procedure. So waterfall would be high there with little level of agility. Okay. So there is where you will need to understand that we all are sometimes process oriented, result oriented, people oriented, but we have one particular style which is dominant within us, just like we have one particular style which is in conflict management as well. And if we look at the leading styles, we have to also look at how we as leaders are going to be with our teams. Now on Google, and there are multiple leadership styles like autocratic, laissez faire, and in the interest of time, I'm just focusing on one. So the funnel and the umbrella. Now this is very important. So what happens in the funnel is a leader is willing to take all the pressure from the higher ups and just dump it on the people below, because of which people can get demotivated. People will feel that they're not cared for. Instead of that, as opposed to that, we have got an umbrella style where the leaders will form a layer and they will not let sudden priorities and all change, just being bombarded. So people under that umbrella, people under that protection will always feel motivated. And there is where the leadership style here, the leading patterns at funnel and umbrella, that is also connected somewhere to the conflict management styles that we looked at. A funnel person could have a competing approach. An umbrella person may have a collaborative or an accommodating approach. Now, this is not a thumb rule, but usually you can see, you can just mix and match. Okay. So now we have to look at everything from the perspective of our own emotions. If someone puts pressure on you as a leader. And if you're expected to get the work done from the team, look at the type of emotions which rise within you. Do you feel flustered? Do you feel scared? Do you feel helpless? Or do you feel confident that no, my team is already working on something? I am not going to put more pressure because they have a deadline to match. We have seen all type of leaders as well, right? I have come across multiple types of people, multiple types of leaders, and I myself have had the blessing of working under people who have the umbrella style leading approach. So that is one thing that I always carry in my heart, which are like the golden moments for me to go back to in my memory lane. Okay, clear about this? Any thoughts before I proceed further? Okay. Now, after looking at the conflict and the leadership styles, we are now going to explore another concept, and that is called the Dilts pyramid. Now, Dilts pyramid is a concept which was introduced by Mr. Robert Dilts. Now, he is a developer, a coach, and a trainer and a consultant, a very senior person in the field of neuro-linguistic programming. And his framework, his pyramid, is something which coaches worldwide are using. Even I use this particular framework along with tarot and management concepts when I'm guiding individuals in my sessions. So if you look at this particular pyramid, you can very well distinct have a distinct demarcation of upper layers and a lower layers. So the upper layers, which are going to be your purpose, identity, and values and beliefs, these are going to be your internal factors, which makes most sense to you. The external factors are going to be your capabilities, behavior, and environment. Now remember what we had seen in the very first slide about the levels at which conflicts occur. And we spoke about the internal realm, the conflict between the mind and the heart, rationality versus emotions, logic versus creativity, or logic versus intuition sometimes. Now, here is what it means. Whenever people are feeling stressed out, or whenever they are stuck somewhere in life, most of the time it is the case where the upper layers and the lower layers, that is the internal factors and the external factors, are not in congruence with each other. They are conflicting, and this happens with almost many people. It has also happened with me. Sometimes we just jump into action because we feel that, hey, the world is moving in a certain way, I should also follow this path. In the spur of moment, in the spur of enthusiasm, we jump into a particular environment. We start developing our behavioral traits. We try to acquire skills which we feel will be suitable. And then afterwards, we come across situations where something is not right. And what is not right is because sometimes our values and beliefs are going to be clashing with what is happening in the external environment. And this is a very important tool for life coaching. Now, why I'm telling this to you right now is because in the next couple of slides, we'll be looking at the tarot personalities, but we all are made up with different aspects. Okay. What happens is, now all of you, most of you are in India, or so you know what a horoscope means, right? Horoscopes are central part of our all families, right? So whenever we are born, we look at the birth date, we look at the birth time, we look at the birthplace, and based on that, based on the Bhrigu Nadi Samhita and many others, now everything is automated. You get a forecast, you get a planetary construct of what were the situations, what were the placement of planets in different houses when you were born, and accordingly, how will the planetary movements now impact your life year onwards. So there are people who are just depending upon this left, right, and center, like which profession I should go into, whether I'll become rich, whether I'll marry the love of my life, how will my married life be. And there is horoscope compatibility checking even during marriage and all, right? But that is not all. That is not all. Even today, when I look at tarot, I look at two different aspects. That is the bhagyam, that is soul number, the life path number, and the personality number. And I also sometimes look at the zodiac signs. Now, if I have to really go deeper into it, if I look at just the zodiac sign, the moon sign, and the rising sign, and the life path and the personality number, there is going to be a combination number which is going to be huge. That is 12 zodiacs, 12 moon signs, 12 rising signs into 9 life path numbers, into 9 personality numbers. The combinations are numbering going to 1,39,968. These will be the different types of personalities just based on these 5 factors. I am not even considering the planetary positions and the constellations which are at play. But here is something that every individual also gets shaped by the values and beliefs that were instilled in them while they were growing up, their identity which has been showcased to them, the impact of the culture where they were born and brought up into, the impact of the environment, the behavior of the people around them, their inherent skill sets, their talents, their ability to learn, and last but not least, the will. So, when we look at personalities, we have to look at each and every aspect, because everybody, each and every one of us who are going to be who we are going to be interacting with, we are made up of all this. So it is a combination of your astrological and psychological aspects. And that is why when I say tarot, it is a wonderful tool to deep down within yourself, to go deep down within yourselves and identify your styles, your personality profiles, and look at your strengths and weaknesses. Because once you identify something, you may be able to predict how you will yourself respond to situations ahead. And in self development, I always lay emphasis on you need to look at what needs to be improved, right? If you know what your strengths and weaknesses are, you can enhance your strengths, you can minimize your weaknesses, or at least work around them, or be cautious. Okay, so this was the neurological levels, and we can go on and on about it, but in the interest of time, we have to move forward. We just have the last half an hour remaining. So now here is a quick activity for the tarot. Okay, so for personality analysis using tarot, we are going to work only on the personality number and the destiny number. Very quickly, suppose your date of birth is 12th July 1995. Your personality number will be just based on the date, that is 12th. You add up those numbers and come to number 3. Okay, to the one digit number. So in this case, it is 1 plus 2, that is 3. When it comes to your destiny number, it is going to be addition of all the digits of the date of birth, that is DDMMYYYY. Add up those numbers, continue adding them till you get a last single digit number. Now, for the purpose of this webinar, we are going to look at the combination of your personality number and destiny number to get your life journey. Okay, I'm going to give you exactly 1 minute for this. Be ready with your personality number and your destiny number, because we are going to look at what each of these numbers mean. Okay. Okay, Mr. Prasad Pathak, we have an astrologer here. Jupiter transits Cancer, its exaltation sign is coming on 18th of October. Well, Prasad, I'm not an astrologer, so I really don't know the nitty gritties of this. But yes, this doesn't seem totally Greek and Latin to me. Okay, all right. Both one, Ujjwala Jagtap. Okay, Ujjwala. Nice. Saumil is 1 and 4. Okay, now we are going ahead with what each of these number mean. Okay, so number 1 is associated with creativity, leadership, and inspiration. And in the Tarot Arcana, this card appears as the magician. Now, the strengths here are you can be innovative, you're extremely dynamic, vibrant, versatile. But the weakness is people can be impatient, there can be anxiety, loss of focus, or it could even mean burnout. So, Ujjwala, does this relate to you? By the way, your name also goes along with number 1, right? Creativity and vibrancy. Absolutely, right? Now, I'm going to move this. Yes, Prasad, this is an example of numbers associated with tarot. Yes. Now, the guidance message to all people where number one appears is please allow yourself to focus and pause sometimes, because you can't be always running around and burning out. You need to conserve your energy. Okay, that's number one. Now, I'm going to number two. Number two is associated with intuition, secrets, and maintaining a balance. So, the strengths associated with this would be people are willing to uh, look at fair reasonings. They will be carefully selecting. They're also going to be extremely secretive. You will not really open up very easily until you feel it is really necessary, or until you feel that the other people are worthy enough for your information. There will be balance, but sometimes a weakness, if this gets too much, then you don't seem to be trusting people. You will be judgmental, or you feel, okay, I'm going to be idealistic. This is the ideal situation. So, the guidance message for these people, you need to open up to others' thoughts and also try to understand that they are going through situations which you may not be aware of or you cannot relate to. So, acknowledge, be open to their experiences. Now, the third thing is compassion. I'm sorry. Okay. The third part is compassion, nurturing, and care. The people who are associated with number three, number three people, or people who have got number three as a life path number, they usually have are having that maturity. They will have the motherly approach, always ensuring that others are fed before me. Okay, they will be extremely careful about people around them, and they're usually selfless. But weaknesses, sometimes this over caring and over giving, can also lead to emptying of their own cup, which then later on go to self pity, that hey, nobody cares about me. No, you need to care about yourself too. So, guidance message for you guys, all people who are in number 3: draw boundaries, practice self care wherever necessary, and please do not over sacrifice. You need to fill your own cup as well. Anybody relating to this? I had a client who was having a number 3 element, and that person had tremendous money problems, and I actually had to tell him some things using tarot guidance. And fortunately, he's doing well now. Coming to number 4. Number 4 is associated with the emperor. Okay, number 4 people, or number 4, having the people having number 4 as their destiny or life path number, determination, stability, robustness. Now these people are like emperors. They will go out, fight, bring in the loot, win over kingdoms, and ensure that their people are well fed. So their strengths are, they are going to be powerful, they will have a lot of rationality in their thinking, and they're also detached. They will not be overly emotional. They will not be emotional fools like number 3 people sometimes tend to be. Okay, no hard feelings, number 3 people. We've all been through certain situations. So weaknesses are, they can appear to be dictators, they can be rigid, or sometimes they can be very, very stubborn. Sometimes they can be extremely aggressive. And that's what emperors can also be, right? We have all studied history, we have all heard stories, right? So the guidance message for number 4 people: mellow down. Sometimes you need to really have that emotional touch, right? You don't need to always be aggressive. You need to have some amount of empathy towards yourself and towards other people as well. Coming to number 5, discipline, regulations, and moderation is a keyword, is a set of keywords here. Rules are not meant to be broken. So the strengths would be, first, they will be going by the book. They will also attempt to mediate. If there are conflicts, these people will first come and try to resolve conflicts. Focus is also the keyword here. But sometimes the weaknesses are that these people can appear orthodox. So here it could be a typical waterfall approach, right? Sometimes they're too involved, but that is also not good, because if you are too focused on one particular aspect, which is anyways a sinking ship, you might lose focus on some other opportunities which are happening around you. And that is where The guidance message for number 5 people is accept the change as per the situation, right? You need to be a little bit flexible. Sometimes you need to think outside the box, and you also need to notice what is happening around you. Okay. Now, card number 6. Number 6 people are extremely amiable, very friendly, easygoing. They love harmony. They're also sometimes materialistic, meaning thereby they love to have good fragrances, good flavors, nice people, lovely looking environments, and all. The strengths here are they can be very good networkers. They can be magnetic personalities, and they are actually charmers. So you love to be around people, and people also love to be around you. Like if there is a number 6 people, let's say there is someone called Pooja who's a number 6 person, everyone wants Pooja with them. And I remember there was my friend called Sonali when I was back in school, and when she came new to the school, everybody was attracted towards her. Even I used to be. We used to compete as to who gets to sit beside her on the desk next. And years after, when I actually checked her tarot, I was surprised she was a number 6. And she also said that yes, I love to be around people, but here is a weakness that sometimes they tend to cling on too much. They can be extremely obsessive about certain things, or sometimes there is some deep rooted insecurity because of which they might be over loving outside. So, the guidance message here is sometimes if you want to make the right choices, you don't need to look at external circumstances. Look deep within yourself to see which fears are you trying to avoid, which fears you need to confront so that your future can be really in the right place. Okay. Then, number 7, target oriented, good in controlling certain situations. They are adventurous. So, people who do not mind leaving their hometown and settling elsewhere, or who can be extremely wonderful in managing two different set of people who are themselves fighting with one another, but under you, they are wonderful. So, you guys are go getters, risk takers, and you can handle different resources in a very perfect manner. The only drawback here is sometimes you can be overconfident. You want to control things even when you feel that things are getting out of control, and suddenly there'll be a boom. Suddenly there'll be an explosion that, hey, I can't do this. Why don't people understand? No. So, the guidance message for these people, whenever you need help, please ask for it. It doesn't make you appear weak, and work on your own issues sometimes so that there are no outbursts later on, because people will not be able to understand that why suddenly this volcano has erupted. So this happens. I'm sure we all have seen people like this, right? That everything is going on well, suddenly there is an explosion. We all at least have once in a lifetime we have met people who are like this, right? Then we have number 8. 8 is standing for fortitude, confidence, aspirations. The strengths are you will be finding solutions. You can very well win over adversities, and you are optimistic. You will usually be optimistic yourself, or you will be trying to pump in us optimism in other people who are feeling low in their lives. So you can actually be like a healing balm to people. But again, the weakness is here, there can be over positivity. So please do not use over positivity to actually address the real life challenges. Sometimes you need to accept that there is something negative so that you can find a solution. Sometimes there can be lack of self control. So I had a friend. She was extremely positive, extremely very much hopeful about certain things. And then she's one day was crying that people are moving away from me. I want to hold on to them. I want to give them all my optimism. I'm trying to tell them that be positive, be positive. Then I said that, look, my dear, you always cannot be over positive. Sometimes that toxic positivity can be dangerous, not just for you, but even for others. So please avoid clinging. Let people come to you when they want to, and use your potential in a peaceful and a steady manner rather than going all out and burning all your resources, right? And last but not the least, number 9, that is wisdom, guidance, and insights. Where the strengths are, these people are usually more mature, or at least they appear to be. Their tolerance level is high, so they will not react to multiple situations which bother them unless situations are extremely dire. They will have subject matter expertise, But the weakness here, they may not be really agile enough. These again will be typical waterfall, or at least they will not come to the surface. They will not jump into action till they feel that situation is safe for them. So the response will always be delayed, but the solution could be perfect. So hermits could be perfectionists. They can have mood swings, but those mood swings will not be aggressive. If they are feeling low, they will suddenly shut themselves up in their den and not come out, leaving people wondering, hey, what did I do wrong? Right? So, guidance message here is avoid overthinking and please try to learn and take quick actions, because sometimes you can't really have all the time in the world. So, these were the 9 personalities. Okay. How did you find them? Are you able to relate to the numbers now? I believe this will be there on the YouTube, so you can go back and revise this. We had to really go back for in the spurt of time right now, so we just have to wind up very quickly. But okay, please show slide number 2. We can later, Alpesh. Okay, Prasad. One is Sun, second is Moon, three is Jupiter. Okay, did you do some research before coming to this webinar? Because you seem to be interested into tarot and numerology. Wonderful. Usually, find at least 1 to 2 people who are deeply knowledgeable in this aspect as well. Ah, okay, Prasad, you are an astrologer. Wonderful, nice. So the personality number is DD. The personality number is DD, right? Only the date. And your destiny number is going to be DDMMYYYY. Okay. So Rajkumar, just to mention, so personality number is just your date. So like I said, if your birth date is 12th of July 1995, your personality number is a sum of 12, that is 1 plus 2, that's number 3. And if it is going to be your destiny number, it's going to be 12 July now. So 1 plus 2 plus 7 plus 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 5, that is, we got number 34, that adds up to number 7. Okay. Is it clear, Mr. Rajkumar? Great. Okay. Now, I would like to say that tarot is going to be a wonderful tool if you're willing to look into yourself deeper. My humble request to all present here, that do not just depend only on tarot, use this as just one side tool to help you develop yourself. Because eventually, no matter what numbers you're born into, this always gets you a perspective about where you can improve yourself or where you can mellow yourself down. Okay. So do not depend just on predictions and forecasts. Even in my sessions, I do predictions, I do possibilities, I look at probabilities, but I also tell them that look, this might happen, this might not happen. You may be feeling a bit overwhelmed, but don't do this, right? Because maybe you need to talk to your bosses, maybe you need to talk to your subordinates, ask for help whenever required. And believe me, these kind of suggestions have really worked. Okay. And now, the good thing about this is something which you can actually try out. Ask your peers the date of birth. Try to identify, and maybe you will be able to understand why they behave the way they do in certain situations. And possibly that will help you to also predict that, okay, right now the situation is not right. Let me just talk to them in certain different way. So using this, you can actually try to modulate your communication with them, and maybe your stakeholder analysis can also be improved. Maybe. All right. So to sum this up, number one, you need to continue to explore yourself at deeper levels. This is not something which can happen overnight. This is a continuous journey. Believe me, my journey started 10 years back, and I'm still continuing to explore myself. Second, look at yourself internally and identify how you react to certain situations. Even if you're not reacting in a way that people observe you, try to feel what comes to your mind. Try to listen to your inner voice. Is certain behavior of certain someone else going to make you angry, or it takes you down the memory lane of certain situation which has hurt you or brought you down? Or these are glimmers where It reminds you of certain positive memories as well. And these glimmers are certain memories which actually brighten up your day, even if you're going through a very terrible phase. Okay, so write them down, write down your triggers, write down your glimmers, because it helps you to really put yourself up in downtime. Then you need to also adapt your thought process according to certain circumstances. Now, certain people, they are perfectionists. They just want to have everything perfect till they actually can portray it outside. But right now, it is not the right, it may not be the most right approach here. So sometimes we need to be flexible. We can't really have things our way. So our thought processes need to be agile, and your mindset, which is going to be dependent upon your values, your belief systems, your identity, and the impact of everything which has been there externally. So enhance your mindset so that you can move on self towards a path of self development. And last but not least, work on the project called you. And that is why we have named this module as the inner project, because how you are internally will help you to progress externally. And with this, we can open up for discussions. And now I'm going to stop my share and look at all the questions one by one. So, Shikha, any opening notes from your side?
Brilliant session, Mitaksha. I was really curious to like host this kind of session in my this journey of SVP professional development for PMI Mumbai chapter. So there are lots of questions coming up. I think this is 5 questions is from Rahul Raghuvanshi, 4 questions.
Okay.
So these are I'll just read out for you.
Yeah, sure. I think I have this. So, okay. So, Rahul, your questions are there. I'm going to ask them one by one. So, as AI continues to evolve, artificial intelligence, potential conflict between human judgment and system recommendations may arise. How should such situations be effectively managed? Thank you so much. A wonderful question, Rahul. So, I would say that artificial intelligence ultimately is what? Isn't it just depending upon the human intelligence of the past? Right? So, this should be used as a guiding point, but you always need to trust your gut instincts, because AI may not be able to decode everything which is happening right now with you. So, somewhere you need to have that balance between the logic and intuition. You need to really look at all the aspects. So, here is one thing that I can share. Just as we project managers have studied the concepts in the PM work and use the application during the examination, or the way we are trying to use the concepts in the practical life, we are supposed to use the confluence of AI and human judgment. There is no fixed answer for this. It will always be very much flexible according to the situations. Yeah. Now, your second question, could you elaborate on the symbolism or significance of the birds and animals in representative each style? I believe you're referring to the conflict management strategies that we looked at. So, okay, so very quickly, the avoidant is represented by the turtle. So, like I said, the turtle will just move inside the shell because they don't want to confront any danger. So, these people, they will look at conflicts as potential dangers, and that's why they will retract themselves. The second is a teddy bear. So, teddy bear is like, okay, it's a bear hug. You know, I love you, you love me, we love everybody. So, that's the kind of emotion which is there in the accommodating style. The third is a fox. Now, that is something which I may not be able to really elaborate. This is something which I've taken up from the internet source. But foxes are very shrewd and clever sometimes. So they will try to make you work according to their way. But again, we need to be foxes sometimes, where everyone needs to compromise. The fourth is the shark, where they're aggressive. You know, they are like tigers or the most dangerous predators. So that's why it is the emotion of that animal personality which has been put in. And the last is the owl. Now, owls are supposed to be extremely intelligent creatures. You know, they also say it's a parliament of owls. And one more insight which I myself got through one of my participants last year, that owls can rotate their neck 360 degrees. Yeah, that means they are able to look at all the aspects in multiple domains, and then they are able to take the decisions, and that's why the owl. Okay, so now coming to the third question, we need to really hurry up. Which pattern does this align with? Being result oriented through collaboration and leveraging people's potential. I think this will be mostly this will be the collaborative approach. Yes, result oriented and collaboration. So again, you can't really. Uh, okay, so I don't have a perfect answer for this, Rahul. But I think what I really want to say is that you can't really have 100% of everything. So if you're talking about result orientation and collaborative approach, then you might really want to sit together with a group of key stakeholders and key opinion leaders, and describe that, okay, this is the result which we want to achieve. How do we do it best? So we need to follow a process. Now typically it happens in departments or in domains like legal or quality. You want a result, but you also want to collaborate. So you can't really say that, hey, it's going to be either result oriented or it's going to be collaborative. So sometimes there is always a mix and match of two or three aspects. Okay, again, it's going to be extremely subjective. It's not easy to answer this in one thing. How do you balance intuition from tarot with logic and analytical thinking from your PMP background? Okay, now for this, I will have to walk you through my entire journey. It's not going to be possible for me to really answer this, but long story short, intuition, it comes through the guidance from the cards. So whenever I'm putting out cards, there are some cards which pop up, and it helps me to ask questions to the people so that they can tell their stories, and there is where I'm able to match sometimes the logic and the intuition. And in my honest journey, I can say that this has actually worked. So my style which I follow, Rahul, is not about giving predictions, but it is more about discussions and open talk, where they also talk about their situations, and there is where we are able to relate. And hence the coaching approach, where it's not just about me telling something, but me asking something and then we coming up at a common solution. Okay, I hope this answers your all your questions, Rahul. Please forgive me if I've missed out something. I need to move on to the next. So Prasad says, in fact, I just to put humbly your personality number, the upcoming year can help you see how the year is coming to be. Prasad, I think you're trying to eat away my business now. Yes, that's what I do in my sessions. Thank you so much, Prasad. Yes, it's exactly the same thing. Okay, then you have, could you please share the PPT? So Harshali, this PPT, I don't think it will be shared, but this video will be there on the YouTube, so you can check it later on. Okay, Harshali? Okay, Arpita says owl can move only 270 degrees. Okay, I'll try to do the fact check because this is something which I was told. But thank you, Arpita. I'll look into it. Okay. Arpita, are you a zoologist by chance? Okay, Rahul. Thank you so much. First, automation is really for users. Okay. Concern about number five being highest. So rotating 360 degrees. Okay. All right. Okay. Any more questions? All right. I think we are done with the questions. Any more questions or insights from you, Shikha? Because I believe you may have questions yourself too.
Yes, as I informed you already, but I think there is a last question from Jyotsna. She's
Yeah.
asking, between unseen dynamics, anxiety, and external factors, how can these personality numbers help us evolve?
Okay. So I'm going to just give you an example. Okay. So there will be unseen dynamics, and that is where we can identify certain unknown factors through tarot. Everybody wants to get hold of what could be the possibility. But what happens is there are something hidden. So most of the times, even when I want to check my cards, I go to another friend of mine who's an established tarot reader herself. She told me about a certain situation that there could be some hidden aspects. Please be careful. This is the only statement she made. I said, what hidden aspect? So she said some crucial piece of information may be hidden from you. So now in this case, because I am of a certain type, I will go deep down under and I'll ask lots of questions. If somebody is going to be of a determined nature, they will say that no, I will ensure that everything is there on paper. The other person may be a hermit personality. They will say that, oh, hidden persons, then I will not take any decision till everything is taken out. Okay, so this again depends. So like I said, that different personalities will respond to different situations in a different way, and that is again dependent upon so many factors, the numbers which I told about on the sun signs, the moon signs, and all. and also the way they have been brought up. Yeah. Okay. So I think Josna, does it answer your question? Abhishek, how can we remain focused and calm during volatile the changes that are happening around you? Meditate. Okay, this is not a spiritual healing session here, but yes, maintaining the calmness and focus is difficult sometimes. So if you are somebody who's always on the run, maybe you would want to just journal and write down things, because sometimes our mind is so overburdened. Writing down the problem and breaking it into pieces actually resolves multiple things, and this in my opinion, and this my experience has really helped me out, and that's what we do during the coaching as well. Alpesh says that's why they say some part of the future better remain hidden. Actually, you're right, Alpesh. Sometimes ignorance is bliss. Okay. All right. Any more questions that we have missed out?
I think we are done. So I'll just share my question, though I have already told you. So I want to share my personal experience by taking help of tarot, which I believe the most till now in future productions and will continue in future also. So when I had just passed my engineering and got my first job. I took my sister cousin for a movie shopping in a mall, and because she was the only friend left out, because all my friends were like they have gone outside India for higher studies and some have got the job. So now my sister cousin was a friend for me. So we you used to roam around after because I was getting money as a salary. So then I saw a bit, we were just roaming around in the mall. And then, as I told you before, I saw a bit overdressed lady in the middle of the mall with a board like, okay, try tarot, rupees 50, 100 rupees for one question. So I was like, okay, okay, let's go. We will go and just check. Well, like, just try out of curiosity. How can one card can tell you your one question? It was so handy. So I tried, and this was really accurate. So that was the first time I tried tarot, and the second time, as I told you, 1 year back, and that was also so accurate. So I really believe tarot, and I recommend people to try tarot. But I'm really want to know that whether there's a science behind it, whether your aura matters when you ask the question, or whether the vibes around you, or what is the science behind it.
Okay. Thanks for this question, because this question comes a lot. So first of all, I'd like to say that astrology, as we all know, is all science based on planetary numbers, and it's all mathematical combinations. Tarot, on the other hand, can be more as an art, because we've got a set of 78 cards, and each of them is a painting, and we get all symbols, and there are colors, and there are figures and figurines in that, and that actually helps us to answer. So now there is no logical explanation about how tarot works, but we as tarot readers, at least I try to combine that with logic and give practical aspects to it. And what happens is, and the reason why I'm talking about numbers is, whenever I get any card, I at least try to check with people that, hey, I'm seeing some emotional block. What do you think could be the reason because of this? So here, tarot helps us as a tool, because we are giving opportunity to the client to tell their story. In today's world, somebody asked a question about how to, in the world of AI, what happens is, in the AI, you just type in a question and you have an array of information and pointers which are available. But you really don't get to speak your story. You don't get to speak your heart out. And today, in the world of machines, I think that human touch is being lost. And there is where I think this art and the intuition of tarot should be combined with the counseling or the coaching techniques to have the better results. And that is something which has got me more result, as compared to what I used to follow when I was just a novice in the tarot reading journey. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Midaksha. I'm really overwhelmed by the response and the way you answered my question. So I think that is the end of it. And then thank you, Mitaksha, for this very interesting and informative session. So I will be sharing a certificate of appreciation as I promised. So I'll just share the screen. Yeah, can you see the screen?
Yes. Oh, that's
Yes.
lovely. Thank you so
So
much.
thank you, Mitakshra. Please accept a certificate of appreciation from our end as a small token of thanks for accepting our invitation to present today's PM Pit Stop session, and looking forward to invite you for presenting other interesting topics in coming months.
I
So
look
guys,
forward to.
okay, so guys, feedback form is already shared in the chat box, and also the attendees who have joined today's session, please note down that 1.5 PDUs will get credited automatically in your account for attending to today's session within couple of days. And recording of this session will be posted on our YouTube channel, PMI Mumbai chapter, in a couple of days. So please keep watching. And so thank you once again, Mitaksha, for this lovely session. And I'm really look forward to ask more of questions because it's a bit handy. I think people here will agree with me, and I will recommend them to please try it. So it is one question and you are like done. So, but you have to be asking for with the whole heart, and like if you are really troubled with that situation. So thanks, Meeta, once again, very informative session. And thank you all the attendees for joining and meet you in next session soon. Bye bye.
Okay. Namaste. Good night. All the
Next.
best.
Bye bye. Thanks. Namaste.